Okay, today I want to talk about PyCon Namibia and the PyCon Namibia community in general and the type of work that we do. My name is Jessica Upani. Right, and I lead the PyCon Namibia community. You can follow me on Twitter at Jessica Upani or send me an email. I studied mathematics and computer science as a minor, and then I continued with the computer science community. And so in that, I'm a programmer. I was a high school teacher for a couple of years and did some part-time lecturing as well. So I am an educator at heart. So this is where you can find PyCon Namibia and PyCon as well. So that's on Twitter at PyCon Namibia, PyCon NA, or on our website, pynam.org. You can also find us on LinkedIn at Python Software Association of Namibia. These are some of the organizations that we have worked with in the past, either as a meetup sponsor or a conference sponsor, or any of the above. Some may be missing, but these are some of the people that we worked with over the years. Right, so let's talk a little bit about PyCon Namibia. About 8 years ago, an individual thought about having a conference in Africa. And 7 years after that, okay, or maybe a year later, the conference was organized in my country. Now, this individual was Daniele Procida. He thought of this idea and collaborated with another individual called Vincent Knight from Cardiff University. And so together they collaborated with the University of Namibia, and they also got some sponsorship from the Phoenix project of Cardiff University. And this conference was organized, the date was set, and we were able to join the conference. Now, the motivation for this conference were different. Some people really wanted to learn about Python, which wasn't me. Some people had free time because it was at the beginning of the semester, we were not busy. And some people joined because there was free food, and that was me. And after a 4-day conference, we were told during the conference that there was a possibility for joining a group of people that would carry on organizing the conference after it had completed in 2015. And I was one of the people that wanted to do that. And so we then made up a group and we organized the conference following that. And it has been consistent all throughout until 2020. And that was the last time that we had an in-person conference, sorry. And then in 2021, we had an online conference. This year, we plan to have another conference in around October, and in person if everything allows. We might have a hybrid event if the technology allows, but we have a problem with internet connectivity, and that might be a problem, but we will try. We'll try to have a hybrid conference, but we want to have an in-person conference. So we have had a range of 80, 70 people to 110, 120 people for the conference. We have had loads of talks and workshops, a combination of local as well as international speakers. And then this is the initial team that started PyCon Namibia, and we continued with the activities within the country. So now I'm going to give you a little bit of a background of what kind of work we do, or just so that you have an idea of what we are as a community in Namibia. So we have Pynam Scholars, which is a scholars group. We have coding clubs in schools, and we try to teach them how to, okay, we don't try, we teach them how to code in Python. Some successful, some not, but we do that. We have Django Girls, PyData Namibia, Django Namibia, PyLadies, and we've also had carpentry workshops. Now, when you look at the job market in Namibia, it's sort of non-existent, especially for Python developers. We have a local market that wants Java and all these other fancy languages or what they think are fancy, but there's not a demand for Python yet. But we are working towards making it known in the country and sort of finding a way to have a demand. So most people go for international jobs, or they target the international market. There are also some startups. There is one startup called Ade, and they are an outsourcing company. So the owner is also from Switzerland. And so he sort of looks for jobs within the country and also from Germany. And then he looks for people in Namibia who could potentially work on those projects. So that's where sort of I've seen some Python jobs kind of coming up. But in general, we teach Python workshops, but we can't offer them jobs within the country. Right, so in academia, we have high schools. In high schools, there's no Python yet as an official language, but I started that when I was a high school teacher, and now I'm seeing a lot more schools sort of also using Python. So we in Namibia have no official language for high school learners, and so every teacher is free to use whatever language that they want to use to teach their learners. And that's for only learners that choose to have computer studies. So it could be just one class in a grade, or maybe 20 learners in a grade, and so forth. We do have Python in universities, one in a diploma level, another one in an undergraduate level. And I've seen one now who introduced a master's in data science also using Python. Right, so how do we as an organization have or try to have a diverse community where there is equality and also inclusion? It was a little bit difficult for me to come up with this talk, mainly because I didn't feel confident with the definition of what those three included, and I was sort of also worried that that might not have the same, I guess, idea as what is happening here. But this is basically some of the works that we have done to sort of solve problems within our own community. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. So how do we start with finance scholars, or how do we sort of have an inclusive community through our finance scholars? We started finance scholars because we wanted to have scholars that had an opportunity, a better opportunity than some of us when they go to university to learn coding. So myself, I knew from a young age that I wanted to do anything that had something to do with computers, but I didn't know anything about computer science or whatever. I heard about IT. I didn't know what IT was about, but I knew it had something to do with computers, and so I wanted to do that. Then as I got older, I heard about software engineering. Still, I don't know what is software engineering, but it has something to do with computers, so I want to know how they work, and so I want to go and study that. And so when it came time for me to apply for university is when I found the course computer science, and then I was like, okay, that sounds even fancier, maybe I'll go for that. And so that's how I got into computer science. Right, when I came to university, there was a concept of programming. I had no clue what programming was. It was my first introduction. My classes were terrible. I passed only because I got help. And how I got help, it would be me sitting next to someone who could code, me having conversations with them and letting them do their thing, because it was completely childish to me. And so in this way, so looks like my time is up. Yeah. So that's how I passed. Theory, sitting with friends who could do the job, and then I just copied the assignments, and then I managed to pass. Until I went to the conference, and I had to challenge myself to learn how to code. I got a book, I learned how to code, and that way, that's when I started how to code. So I wanted to make a difference and have someone else have a better opportunity than I had myself, and so that's how we started Finance Scholars. So we start teaching them coding in school, and when they come to university, they are even going to be more productive than I was as an individual. Right. So how did the PyCon conference also maybe fit into this diversity equality, and inclusion. First of all is the location of the conference. Where it's located, it's in Africa. How is the structure of the conference? We have a structure where we are accommodating people from our own community who know nothing about computing, but as well as also advanced people that will come to visit our conference and they want to join us. So our workshops, our talks, they are structured in a way that they will accommodate people who are complete beginners to the community, as well as our visitors who may have advanced knowledge to the conference. If you look at our tickets, they cost about $26 US, $27 US, and that's completely low. That's to accommodate our community because they also can't afford these high prices. If you look on our website, you'll even see that this ticket, the standard one, is like 400 Namibian dollars, but we can even reduce it to $50 for anyone who may not be able to afford the 400. So we have reduced the prices to a point where we are not necessarily even able to pay for the conference itself, but we rely on international assistance for us to make the conference happen because, again, the community is not in a position to afford that. So location, we are in Africa, and that in itself, being brought by someone who was from a different continent and having a thought that, let me bring this opportunity to Africans, that in itself was a precious gift to us. Our organizing team is not only Namibian organizers, we have many organizers from different countries. Any one of you can also volunteer to be part of our organizing team. We have panel meetups. Now the panel meetups are 2-hour sessions that we have where we have maybe 4 speakers or so that come and speak at our meetup. So this is a very informal event. We come together, we want to meet with each other, we want to share ideas with each other. And so with this meetup, we try to make sure that we have at least 1 female speaker, we have at least 1 Namibian speaker, we have at least 1 African speaker, and also at least 1 international speaker. So we try to mix the group as much as possible. When we are doing this, we didn't think of having all the definition of diversity, equality, and inclusion, but that in itself was more like we are just solving problems. We are just trying to make everyone welcome to our community. And from attending this event, even yesterday, it sort of made me think about some of those things, to know that they are also helping with this concept of diversity. Right, we have also created a PyCon tutorial, a very small one, which we wanted to translate in our native languages. This, again, we were just doing it because we wanted to bring coding to our community members. It's completed, it's still very rough. If maybe one of you wants to give us a look at the tutorial and want to maybe edit or make comments or whatever, or link us with the right person maybe to help us really edit the tutorial, or maybe you are an editor, we are more than welcome to have you on the team. We also have a Patreon page that we created. This was created because we wanted to bring computer resources to schools.
Sorry.
Right. So what I found out when we were going out and visiting different schools was that either the computers were non-existent at the school, there was no internet connection, or the software was super outdated to a point where we had to install PyCon 1 something in order for us to be able to teach at the school. So we decided that we wanted to sort of bring people together, maybe who were having an interest in helping us overcome this problem. And we created a Patreon page. And if you, as an individual, want to contribute to the page, you are more than welcome to become a patron. Or if you want to make a one-time donation, you are more than welcome to do so. Or maybe if you know someone who may be interested in that, you can also reach out to us. The unfortunate thing is that this page has not had a lot of contributions. So even though we are having a monthly income, it has not been enough for us to be able to sponsor a whole computer lab. But we have now, since 2018, when we started, we have reached about $3,000 US. So hopefully this year we'll be able to donate some computers to a school. But we have not been able to do that because the funds could not allow us to do that. So on Patreon, you can look for FICO Namibia or FICO Namibia Society. I can't recall the name, but I can link you up if you are not able to find the site. With that, thank you.